But the only thing that people remember in Gary is the Jackson House and crime. Mm-hmm. That's it. Okay. You don't remember past that.
Well, I didn't say crime. I said Michael Jackson.
Well, I said it.
Okay.
The Jackson House and crime. No.
Have you been to the Jackson House?
I know Jacksons.
No.
You know the Jacksons?
You know Catherine and Joe?
You know the Jacksons? I don't think anybody has a Jackson matter.
I mean,
you walking to the store.
I seen him on TV.
When he whooping Michael Jackson.
Let me tell you something. I have never been star-stricken. The first entertainer that I have loved, and I still love her to this day, and anyone I have dated can tell you. That's who she is.
I know.
You whispered it. Nobody heard you.
You don't know? Tony
Braxton?
My vein almost packed out.
Because that's me, Tony Braxton. But
Tony Braxton is my favorite. And when I first saw her, I was in high school. I went to see her in Indianapolis, my first concert ever.
You passed out like the people be passed out.
Never.
Be like, hi.
Never. And we had VIP tickets, me and my friends. They did it for my birthday. It was a surprise. We drove from Marion to Indianapolis. Hour drive. And I would never thought Caucasians. And I would have never thought that. And when we had like the backstage passes and like the VIP, I thought like I would have been like, ooh. But like I saw her, I was excited, but it was like, she's a person.
A normal person.
She's a person. Like I've never been, and I've met, stars after her. I've never been a star-stricken person.
Who's your star-stricken? Who is your person that you met that's a star that close?
I haven't.
You met quite a few. I know. I can name a couple.
But I've never been starstruck because I know that everybody is you're a human, you're a person. So I could never. I know that's how celebrities, their energy comes from the people that
make them big,
make you big. But I've never been that type of person. I don't know if I'm just weird like that or whatever. But
it's different.
I could see somebody and be like, oh. If I seen Tony Braxton, I'd be like, "Hey, girl."
See, not me.
How you doing?
So listen, I was listening.
I think that's giving them. Well, that's where they get their stardom from. That's giving them too much power over you.
Listen, because I can see Tony right now talking about you mean the world to me. You're my everything. I turn the piano right now.
If Tony Braxton was like, girl, you want to sing something with me? I sure will, girl, because I thought I was you in high school.
You don't sing, though.
You could say, no, I don't sing. But I would with Tony Braxton.
See, I don't have a singer. Mine is more motivational people. Like mine is Eric Thompson and T.D. Jakes. Those are my people.
Why T.D. Jakes?
I love T.D. Jakes. I don't care what nobody says. I just love his message.
Other entertainers?
Besides,
you said Eric Stampton.
You said T.D. Jakes.
I didn't say no Eric. Y'all let him do me like that. You see how they play me, and they want to.
You said T.D. Jakes.
Yes, I love T.D.
I do love him too.
No, but his message.
I do love him.
His message do bring light to me. It do.
I do love him.
Hard time. Like I'm a music person, but like you, I'm not. I feel like they don't really motivate me. They get me good and clean and stuff. But when I be going through some shit, T.D. Jakes be helping me through a lot of stuff.
I do love T.D. Jakes.
Even Eric Thomas. I love him.
The motivational speaker.
Yes, those are my two favorite people. I just want to say, yes.
Go ahead, this your
Because you know how you make your names up.
Just to clarify, we've been drinking. We've been drinking.
I only do.
Not me. Mine is just juice. Welcome to our blooper. This is our blooper.
Yours is juice.
Mine's just juice.
See, juice.
Mine's just juice.
See, I let her have that moment. I'm letting her have that moment.
Right. Why can't?
Because I actually,
y'all mixing these.
I only mix communion. I only mix bread and wine in the church. Go ahead. What about Eric Stampton?
T.D. Jakes.
Proceed with Eric Stampton.
We're going to hashtag like TD Jakes on this.
I love them. They get me through a lot.
Oh, I love TD Jakes.
And Eric Thomas, he made me say,
TD Jakes is gifted. I can say that.
He is.
Yes.
And he came a long way. You know his story? He came a long way.
Now, I don't care what people say. Now, one thing I can say, I just do not look at people's religious journey.
Thank you.
That's one thing I do not do. I don't care what your religious background is.
Facts.
I look at your words of wisdom.
Thank you.
What jewels do you drop?
Yes.
And if the jewels you drop resonate with me, that's what matters. That's all that matters to me. Tony, I'm not fooling with you. You already got people saying this.
She got baby Jesus now.
He gonna have his own TV show,
right?
That's what matters.
And I'm gonna sit on the stage like the first lady.
And I'm gonna be in the crowd like y'all.
No, we gonna be on the stage like first lady with that big ass chair. Nobody else is on the stage. We gotta stay on topic, y'all. We gotta stay on topic. We gotta stay on topic. I'm sitting there live. We gotta stay on topic, y'all. We gotta stay on topic. We gotta stay on topic.
Listen,
we got to stay on topic.
No, we was talking about we were talking about you and you not knowing what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I did not. I knew I loved to help people, but let me tell you why. And it's so funny because I was talking about this with someone earlier today because we were in a relationship and they love to help their family. And I don't want to disclose their name yet because I didn't get permission. So I don't want to put their business out. I don't want to disclose their name yet because I don't want to put their business out.
The letter's the whole name.
Listen, right. So we were talking about that. So let me say this first. So I loved, I helped a lot of people and they helped a lot of people. So we knew that was something we loved to do. But one thing we did not do was, and I'm so serious, we had this conversation when I was picking up Brielle from school today. One thing we did not do is we did not use wisdom in helping people. We had a heart for people. And a lot of times when you have compassion and a heart for people, you just help, but you don't use wisdom. Like you'll give your all. When you have a heart for people, you'll give your all. Like I'm giving you my last. I'm gonna give you my last. You got my all. But what's ignorant, what makes us ignorant is we're not good stewards. So I have a good heart, but I'm not using wisdom. I'm not using my intelligence. Because reality is how did I get to where I am? I got to a place of wisdom by falling in a hard place. So the question I ask myself is, Jesse, how do I not get back here? And I not get back here by using intelligent tools and by not connecting to ignorant people. But if I keep enabling you, you will never get to the place of intelligence I'm at. I'm serious. We just had this conversation today. I will never forget it. 2:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We just had this conversation today. And so we realized that we both was trying to help our families and they were beneath us and we were working hard. But how did we get to where we were? We were learning lessons and what we've been through. And a lot of times we want to pull people up, but a lot of times people don't want to come up.
And it brings us down.
Exactly. And they don't want to go through the lessons. And we don't ask those questions. And so what happens in communication is we don't get clarity in communication. So for example, I can be talking to Nichelle and I can ask Nichelle, what do you think about this? And she can answer me and I may not have clarity and she can answer me on a surface level. And then I can internalize her response and I can receive what she told me. And then I can say internally, she also means X, Y, and Z. She could or could not mean additionally what I'm internalizing, but I don't know. I just internalized it. And so now I've created this other dynamic within myself. And now I'm going off of that. And so a lot of times we create situations within ourselves that doesn't have to be. And so that's something that we have to learn is that, you know what? I've learned this position I'm in by where I fail. I fell in a hard place. And sometimes we try to be that extra cushion for other people, but they need to fall like we fell.
Yeah, that was a hard lesson
sometimes,
I had to learn.
But a lot of times we're inconsistent. We say, I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out.
Because our heart.
But we don't use wisdom.
Exactly.
And then that's when we fail. And then that's when we strive to be great, but we never make it to that destination of greatness because we're inconsistent. Mm-hmm. And we have to make up our mind one day
inconsistent
because we want to see everybody make it like we desire to make it. But everybody doesn't have the mindset that we have.
And we got to realize that. That's what that wisdom
That's what I struggle with. Not to cut you off, but that's what I struggle with when I tell you that I used to be that person, because I know you think I'm mother now, but back in the day, I did not have the knowledge of separating the allowing people to fall flat on their face. Like I had to fall flat on my face several times. It is hard, because
but we know how it feels to fall flat on our face. So, we don't want nobody else to
I had to realize, but in the same sense, I had to fall flat on my face with no help.
Yeah.
So in order for somebody else to get it, like I got it, they need to fall flat on their. I'm not always going to be there to pick everybody up around me.
Right.
So I had to realize, like, even with my sons, I'm so not hard on them, but I don't give them no room to, you're not depending on me because I'm going to teach you.
Yes.
And once you get to that level, you fall flat on your ass, I'm not going to be there to pick you up.
Because I'm not going to be there all the time.
And I had to realize, since I'm like that with my children, I need to be like that with adults.
Definitely adults. That's how I am with my kids.
In my relationship.
And children look at that.
They will. They will. They like, why you sitting here to have me fall on my face, but this whole grown person,
it makes you hypocritical.
Yeah. Yes. So now I discern, even though I am a person that I have compassion. I try to look at the underlying, I just said that earlier, the underlying reason as to why someone would be the way that they are. But I have to literally sit back and say, I remember times where I had nothing, literally didn't know how I was going to feed my children the next day. And I had to figure it out on my own.
Oh, that's my favorite word.
Never ask anyone for help.
I will figure it out.
I will literally figure it out before I even ask, before I ask a damn social worker to help me.
Yeah.
Where there's resources, I don't care. I will figure it out on my own. Mm-hmm. And now I'm learning, like, people need to fall flat on their ass so they can learn how to get back up. But you know
what makes our journey easier, even in our strength? Because sometimes pride gets in our way.
Yeah,
so sometimes pride gets in our way, and pride, we know, has been the fall of man and woman since the beginning. Sometimes pride gets in our way, and we have to ask, we have to remind ourselves that it's going to hurt either way. It's going to hurt me to stay. Ooh. It's going to hurt me to go.
I learned. I learned that. But it's better for me to go.
Wait, exactly. What's going to hurt the most? Is it going to hurt me the most to stay? Or is it going to hurt the most to go?
It hurt me.
It's going to hurt the most to stay. So let me go in the exit stage and left. Mm. So sometimes we think about the pain to transition to go. But it's painful either way. It's painful to stay and it's painful to go. But what hurts the most? It hurts most to stay. Just
when you really want to go.
Yes.
When you really want to go, it hurts most to
Absolutely.
Stay. But when you sit there and you really want to stay, that hurts the most to really go because you
it
really
hurts
want to
either
stay.
way.
So
weigh out your options. So weigh out.
Depending on the situation too.
Yeah, weigh out your options. What hurts the most? And that's why I'll never forget my oldest daughter said to me, like, Dad, and it really touched me. Like, she said to me, like, Dad, when you made up your mind you wanted to do something, like, I've really seen you just do it. She said this to me, like, almost a month ago. She was like, you never was a hypocrite in your decisions. Like, when you made up your mind you was not going to do something, you stood in it. And my response to her was, I said, baby, because when I made the decision that I knew it was not healthy, I was not going to stay in it. Mm-hmm. I said, now it hurt me. I said, so don't think, baby, it didn't hurt me, because it did hurt me. Mm-hmm. But I made the decision it was not healthy. So understand that. I understood it was not healthy. It hurt me, but it wasn't healthy. And sometimes, so I want her to understand that. I understand the pains of life, but I also understood it was not healthy.
Yeah.
So it was time to let it go. And sometimes we prolong our pain by staying in shit that's not healthy.
I definitely, I can agree. And to my own defense, I stayed in stuff, even with family, many years, way longer. Way longer than what was needed. But I realized once I could let my family go, then I could let anybody else go. So situations for me are time is becoming shorter and shorter and shorter. And I am finally at a point in my life where I know that, one, if I'm not about to carry nobody on my back anymore. I used to do that all the time. I had a really bad problem with that. Having a drug addicted father, I always felt like I needed to take care of him. And that really tore me apart as an adult. I always felt like I had to take care of people. Take care, make sure they were okay, put myself last, and literally last. Like,
because that's our problem, though.
And ain't nothing weaker than a person that will take care of somebody over themselves.
But you
because
have
that
to
gets taken advantage of.
Putting ourselves last in any situation, even for our kids, for our husband, wife, any relationship. We always have to put ourselves first, because how can we give for anybody if we keep putting ourselves last? It's not making no sense to me. If I'm not good with myself and put myself first, I can't put nobody else first besides God. And this is me and my spiritual way.
That's true.
So I feel like no longer should I put myself last for any human being.
That's true.
On this earth.
That's true.
We're not here for that.
We're not here for that. Yeah. Even with them kids gonna grow up and do their own thing.
Oh yeah, my kids
and that's when we have to realize.
My kids know. First of all, I'm gonna be back. Go ahead and figure out what y'all gonna do while I'm gone.
To that.
Yeah.
But that's so crazy that I had to realize that I would put that responsibility on my children so they know to take care of themselves, but I wouldn't do that for adults that I was dealing with. And it's like, I had to realize, like, that is critical. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this for adults, but you won't allow your kids
because you're teaching
to
your
depend
kids
on you?
But I feel like because you're teaching your kids to be something that you don't want them to be out there.
Yes.
And then you're seeing them, you feel like they've never been taught or they don't understand it. So you're trying to teach somebody. So you be hard because, like, I'm teaching you right now at a young age, so you won't be like this adult that I'm helping.
But I feel like that is your children looking at you as hypocritical, because how are you going to be so tough on me to handle my own responsibilities and take care of myself, but here you are pushing these adults along and coddling them?
It is.
I saw that as a child. So it's like, I don't want my sons to look at me like, well, you didn't do that for your relationships, or
it
is.
So why are you doing that? It could cause some tension between you and your children.
It will, but I'm saying to you, the reason why most people do it is because of those situations.
Oh yeah,
but you're 100% right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. And one thing that we have to remember is that we have to sometimes reflect and look at, am I holding the same standards? That's what's important.
Because I know that is a big issue for me, is literally holding the same. Like, if I'm going to hold my children to this standard as an adult, whether it's a friendship, relationship, family member, you got to come correct too, because my children they're superseding you and they're kids. Because I've taught them to literally be this way, but here I am coddling you as an adult to help you become this way.
Make no sense. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
And that's why I just be like, that's why I say I am totally I know how to discern certain things now to where it's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. So I let things go faster now than I used to. Instead of being years into something.
I had to learn that. Especially
it might be months. It might be a year in a couple months. But it's sooner draining. To where I'm like, all right, this is not for
draining.
me.
What's draining?
trying to help somebody, a grown person, and you already trying to teach your kids. Yeah, you already have your kids. You already have 3 or 2 personalities you got to deal with trying to teach your kids in different ways of trying to teach them, because each child is different how you teach them.
Very much
you
so.
teach them one way, this one, but you can't do the same one for that one. So you got to figure out how to train that one. Teach that one. And then now you're trying to do a whole dog who been here about the same amount of years on this earth like you, trying to teach them. Like, we're not their mom, we're not their dad. That's not my job. My job is not to teach. I had to learn that. Like, my job is not to do this for you. That was your parents or whatever, or you didn't listen and you want to do your own thing. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't do it. It's draining. It drains us.
Yeah.
This is why I tell people. So when I talk to couples, whether it's same sex or opposite sex, I tell couples. So like if I talk to a woman, for example, and she's with a male, and she says, "Well, he's a grown man. He should know." Why should he know? Because he could have grown up in a household to where he was told, "Be a man, not a mouse."
Yeah.
Don't have emotion. So he doesn't know how to feel. He doesn't know how to be sensitive and express himself. Or he was told that he was a sissy if he cried.
Yeah.
Or if he expressed himself. So he has been emotionally constipated. So these are things I deal with. So we all have different backgrounds. So this is why I say, even in the dating phase, when we know that we're moving past the dating phase and we're moving towards the phase of, you know what? We may be going somewhere with each other. We need to know each other's stories. Like, what is your history?
Do you think we should know stories in the beginning of the day, like beginning of the dating stage, instead of not knowing that I'm eventually want to be with you for a long point? Like, in the beginning, I'm still getting to know you.
Not completely in the beginning, but because I feel like in the beginning, like when we first meet in the beginning, like we'll talk about our days, how our days went, about our families, and etc. That will come organically.
Right.
But then we feel like, okay, we're going to go on a second date, a third date, a fourth date. Those conversations about our families, our family units, our mothers, our fathers, our guardians, whatever, that's going to come along. And then we're going to be able to put the pieces together. We're going to be able to talk. But a lot of people don't have those conversations because they're nervous. Like, well, what would they think? Will they feel like they're on an interview? Will they feel like I'm asking too many questions, and et cetera?
Yeah.
No, but I need to know these because now we're talking about becoming exclusive. So I need to know, and especially if you're like me, who has children, I want to know
everything.
And I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for my children. Because I will bury your body under a garden. So, because I'm asking you for my children. So, I want to know. So, I'm asking you for me and for them.
And we trying to be exclusive, honey.
Listen, I want you to live because I will bury you and then come to your funeral with a veil.
Tell me you was fucking eating dog food. I need to know everything.
I will ask questions.
Me you was a prostitute. Tell me all of that. I don't care. Let me know. Let me make my own decision.
I will ask. Listen,
because everything is public knowledge now. Yeah. So you can't hide nothing.
Listen,
if I go everything is public.
Honey, let me Google your name.
We got more than AOL.
I see your mug shot and it says you was prostitute and pimping and everything. Like, honey, tell me.
I got questions.
But people are dumb to think you won't look them up.
Listen, and not only that, but because I'm a parent, my questions are not just for me; they're for my children. So, listen, I got
me
questions.
and my children because I'm protecting myself.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying because I'm a parent, though.
Exactly.
It's for me and my children.
Exactly.
Because as a parent, and we're all parents, I shoot first and ask questions later. Like what?
That's one thing I said.
And like, you should tell me that first.
One thing I would, and I hate to say this on camera, one thing I would kill for is my children. Period.
That's all parents.
I will go straight to hell for my kids.
That's all things considered, all things possible, all things that will happen, all things that will happen.
I will
listen.
Jeffrey Dahmer your ass. Okay. I will literally.
I be at that table like this.
Jeffrey ain't got nothing on me. Jeffrey, Jane, Sarah, Mary, ain't nothing on me. Listen.
Blood everywhere.
They'll be asking me to write write a book. Like, how did you do that? Well, listen, get your pen and paper out.
Yeah, for my children.
I tell you, I be like Jeffrey Dahmer with the detective. Listen. I sure did.
Yeah,
I sliced them up.
Yes, I did.
I did, and I put it in acid just like he did.
You're real composed. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I am. I got no blood on me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they be like, oh, we blood up. You already know, honey.
Okay, see, now we sound like serial killers.
Listen,
I want serial killers.
We're gonna go back to the topic of how you found out what you wanted to do.
We still didn't get that answer.
Your purpose in life.
So, how I found out was, as you know, I got 2 daughters. I co-parent well with one.
That was a good one.
You play way too much.
That was a good one.
That was a horror. That was an unbelievable lie.
No.
Like, do you really now?
Because he said it once, but we're not going to put it out there. They ain't going to like me after this.
Steve, did you catch that?
I did.
I don't know if you caught that.
You better get that text. What's she mean?
I co-parent well with one. I do not. She better not.
Go ahead, let him finish.
I remember you. Listen, y'all know I got multiple weapons, and I don't need weapons first because it's listen. Neck if you buck, I come that generation.
As a Black community or in our community, we needed healing. What role did you want to play in that healing?
So for me. And it's funny because I'm asked this question when I do podcasts, when I do interviews and publications. I always say I want to be a piece to the puzzle, right? I want to be healed, but I also want to offer healing. We are all a piece to the puzzle because there is some wisdom and guidance that we all have. There's something I have, you don't have. There's something you have, I don't have. There's something she has, I don't have, and vice versa.